So we chose Bob Does Sports for this video analysis. Why? Because he exemplifies what the vast majority of us do with the golf club. And you can see the slice, you see the waggles. We're gonna show you exactly why that occurs, and it's gonna be crystal clear to you what you need to do by the end of this video. So stay with us. So this won't be a silly position plan to fix Bob's swing. He's not defective. Neither are you. What Bob needs is a proper targeting system that he can stay with that's going to fix his out to in swing that we see. And all of those waggles that, he's complaining about. Well, why do you waggle in the first place? Because you're nervous. Why are you nervous? Because you don't know where it's going and you don't have predictability. We are going to give you super clarity and super predictability in this video. You really don't want to change this channel. Stay with us till the end. So let's address the reason why he takes the club back outside and turns to the left too much on the way down. So he pulls a lot of shots with the irons and he slices a lot of shots with the driver. So if I'm facing you and I do a golf swing, my golf swing essentially is going 90 degrees to the left of you, right? This is how we see each other through our binocular vision. This is human vision. So I want to go towards you now. Now, if I'm standing sideways this way, my eyes are now in a very compromised position. So I'm trying to send the ball towards you, where in actual fact, if I'm facing you, I'm going dead left. So my path is going left, and now I have to do all kinds of things to save the shot. So I'm going to hang on to it and slice it to the right. And if I don't want to slice, well, I'm going to release it that way, and I'm just going to pull it dead left. That's why you have that two-way miss. Sound familiar? So now let's look at why this intermediate point that we have in front of our ball is an absolute non-negotiable item. It's like a barrel of a rifle. When I want to aim that rifle towards my target, I got to aim through two sights. That's been proven scientifically time and again that when you go through both sights, you're much, much more accurate. Same for a handgun. So I got two sights on that handgun and it's right there in front of me. So imagine that. I need that because my vision, I have two eyes. So when I'm going towards the target, so many of you don't even know where the club is passing. So notice when I swing back and through without stopping here, my club forms the shape of an arc. That's what we do. We are circle-making machines. The center of my circle is there. I'm going to draw a beautiful circle around that. I put both hands together. The center of my circle is there between my two clavicles, called the sternal notch, and I'm going to make a beautiful circle around that. Because I'm leaning forward, it's not a Ferris wheel and it's not a merry-go-round, it's somewhere in between. So notice as I swing back and through and I let the club brush the grass, I can see that it's brushing the grass there, and I can see there's a beautiful arc appear there. All I want to do is point the arc. So I get back here, I pick my intermediate point. If I want to hit a nice little draw, start it toward the right side of the green and draw it back to the center of the green. I'm going to take this arc and I'm going to send it slightly to the right of that intermediate point. So observe above the ball here. See my arc? It's approaching from the inside and it's moving to the right of that intermediate point. So if I stay with that, let's see what happens. Yes, I started to the right of my intermediate point. Got a nice draw out of that. Hey, we got a green in regulation. See how nice that was? I stay with my direction that I see right there in front of me with my binocular vision. If I take this binocular vision and I turn it over here, man, I am there. Or I'm going to start there and I'm going to slice over there. That's why it's so unpredictable. Because the ball's not going to go where you think it's going, ever, with side vision. Okay? So that intermediate point needs to point the blur of the club through the ball here. So the blur of the club is my rifle barrel, and my ball and intermediate point are the two sights on my rifle barrel. So you have 18 opportunities for beautiful alignment off every tee box. You're going to tee up the ball behind a divot. The ball, the divot, the center of the fairway, they make a beautiful line. And then depending upon whether you want to hit a fade or a draw, you're going to start at a little right edge or a little left edge. And if you're a very straight shooter, then you're going to send it straight over that intermediate point. That's how it works. So the first thing you need to be very consistent with is this particular system. We allow the club to form an arc shape, and that arc is right on plane because I'm cutting grass in both directions. If I'm not cutting grass, that arc isn't where it needs to be. So now that I've got that, that feels like the arc is going to go too far left at the intermediate point. That feels like it's going way too far right at the intermediate point. This feels like it's going right edge of the intermediate point. Good. So now I'm just going to let everything swing through that arc. My attention is over here, through the ball and to the right edge of the intermediate point. And I'm just going to allow that momentum of my swing to make its way through there. So what I want to confirm in my brain is that, hey, I did stay to the right. It did start on the line that I wanted to. And look at that, another green in regulation. So my intent is, yes, there's where I want to go. This is the shot that I want to hit into that green. Now that I've picked my intermediate point, check. Now I got to put the blinders on. It can't be out here. Don't look this way, because as soon as you put your head back up over here, you're giving your brain the wrong information. So we got to stay right here in front of us. There's the dart throw, and we're going to let everything circulate in that direction. Now, phase 2, patterns. Now that you're going to stay with that, because it's the only way to deliver properly to the target for a golfer, okay? And we've done studies with ophthalmologists, airline pilots. We understand how human eyes work. And this is an amazing gift to you guys today because it's going to save you decades of frustration. So the next step is you need to know what your patterns are. Are you starting on line and the ball's staying out to the right? Are you starting a little less to the right and the ball is curving too much? Are you hitting it too much in the toe or the heel? Stay tuned. We're going to give you that consistency factor right now. So if you look at face on, number one, once you see the blur of your club, the second most important part of that blur is the low point. So if I'm setting up here and I'm just going to let the swing go back and through, I would like to see that the club is brushing the grass slightly in front of the ball because I want to catch ball first, then ground. Really easy way to do that. I'm going to pretend I'm going to take a divot of grass from here and I'm going to send it splatting into the wall. So I'm going to use momentum, send the grass into the wall. So something really cool is going to happen. As I get to the top of my swing, my brain's going to have to go to the ground, use the ground to get my body out of the way so that I get to send this grass divot in that direction. If you want a much more elaborate explanation on that, go to wisdomingolfpremium.com, check out Kinetic Chain Series and Kinetic Chain Engagement Series, and you will understand what gift you have in your system right now to play incredible golf. So I have my low point for the irons to be here. And I'm going to show you with the driver a little bit later on how we change that from in front of the ball to behind the ball so we can hit it on the way up. So if my ball position's too far back, it feels now like the low point is too far ahead of the ball. I'm going to miss that aircraft carrier, and I'm going to take a divot in front. I'm going to scull the ball. If it's too far forward in my stance, now I have to lunge after it, or I'll have a tendency to drop kick behind. But if I've got the right ball position, it allows me to catch ball first, then turf, while I'm going through my intermediate point. So that takes care of low point and the proper strike, whether you're hitting it thin or fat. Now, the other part is that we have this amazing ability to Goldilocks everything, okay? You're going to notice Goldilocks is your very best friend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up here, observe where the blur is passing, and I'm going to do the moo scooch. So I'm scooching in. Right now it feels like it's going to hit off the toe. I scooch in too far, now it feels like I'm going to shank it. Now, this feels like the center of the ball is in the center of the club face as my arc blur is going this way. I just made this golf ball a very precise intersection on the way to the target. So this is how I plug in to that through my intermediate point. So I know that if I reach for it, if I let gravity track my arc, which is passing here, well, I'm going to have to lunge at the ball to make sure I don't miss the ball. That cancels the golf swing. If I get too close, now it feels like I have to hang on or jump up, and I can't get my solid contact going in that direction. So which distance to ball do I need now that's going to allow me to stay that way and hit the ball solid? There it is. So it's a very, very easy way. Once we got the arc blur moving in the direction that we want to go, then finding the distance to ball with that particular club becomes much easier. And that's going to give you far more consistency with your ball strikes. All right, so you guys ready for the driver? Before we head out to the driver, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out, and we would love to bring more of these to you. I know you're going to benefit greatly. Leave a comment and let us know who you want us to do an analysis on next. Driver. Now, the dreaded pop-ups, the slices, the balloony shots. This is when you set up square and you go, okay, I want to make sure I go down the fairway. Now you're going to take it outside, cut inside, and we got this skanky fade. Uh-oh. There you go. Sit, and then you're talking to it. Oh, right? That's what we see Bob doing in this video pretty much the whole round. So it's baffling because you think you're going in the right direction, but you're not. So now let's look at how we're going to deliver a different way. So what was the distance on that, Sav?
I think it was only like 209.
209?
Yeah. Okay.
So instead, I'm going to take the blur of club and I'm going to point it to the right of the intermediate point. You see that? So if I stay with that, notice where my low point is. See where I'm starting the club? So the club comes up, comes back down, then I'm going to catch it on the way up and to the right of that intermediate point there. So if my head turns forward the way Bob's does, where am I going now? Why is the head turning forward and not staying behind the ball? Well, it's because I want to see my target. And I need to see, I'm so anxious, I need to see that the ball is going with my target. And that's what happens to the vast majority of us, right? So I'm going to stay right here with my ball and intermediate point, and I'm going to see that the blur goes in that direction. And let's find out what happens when I stick with that. see if we can get a pattern here. Yes, I stayed with it. Put my hand in the fire. Oh, look at that. Drew right back to the center of the fairway. Imagine that. So to me, here at first for you guys, it'll feel like you're going deep bush right. And your brain says, I don't want to go deep bush right. I want to go fairway. But then you're going deep bush left with a big cut. So this is how we get our job done. And that's the difference between what you see Grant Horvat doing and the Bryan brothers. They're target focused, whereas the vast majority of us are trying to save the furniture. So we've got a swing thought, trying to go, and we don't even know where the target is. So good players innately understand where the target is, and they understand how to plug their swing into the target. Many of them don't even know they're doing it that way, right? I remember a lesson, Sav, I gave Pete Sampras.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get him to draw the ball, but his club face, his grip-club relationship was too open. So I said, well, how do you hold the racket when you're doing a topspin forehand down the line? And he goes, I don't know. I just do it. And then I was stumped momentarily there, right? I'm going, oh boy, how do I get this across?
Right.
I said, okay, how about a cut spin volley forehand? Is that the same grip as a topspin forehand down the line? He goes, no, that's different. I said, okay. This grip on the club is round. One of the attributes that Bob has, he's got a strong grip. So we got a strong grip and we stay with that. All we need to do is allow that grip to release, right? So Sav's got a beautiful strong grip and she's amazing, right? So I'm going to stay with that direction. So what happens when I stay in the direction of my intermediate point, the head can't come forward. If my head moves forward, now it can't go that way anymore. I'm going that way. And my low point just now moved over here. Now that ball is no longer on the way up and over the intermediate point or right edge of it. Now I'm on the way down. So I'm going to go under the ball, pop fly, skinny, top, downward angle of attack, not shallow enough. All of that is horse hockey. You're not defective. You just didn't learn how to stay with your golf shot and you don't understand what that feels like. So the first thing we do is we point the blur that way. The second thing we do is we release in that direction so that we're not steering it or guiding it. We're allowing the club to fully release us. And here's a really easy drill we have. You'll go to wisdomandgolfpremium.com and you're going to check out release in the search box. Lead hand or trail hand release. Notice that? If I do a tennis serve towards you, see how that hand has to pronate afterwards? So we get this beautiful pronation like in Pete Sampras' swing in his serve, and we just turn it upside down. It's the same release in the golf swing. It's the same release in the baseball swing. It's the same release in table tennis. So I'm going to allow the club to release me just past the intermediate point right there. And that's going to close the face and allow that ball to stay in the direction that you want it to go. If you try to place it that way, that's a checked swing. Now you're putting on the brakes, you're steering, you're going to lose a lot of distance and you're going to lose a lot of accuracy. Okay? So I hope that this gave you a little bit more of a glimmer of what you need to do. And then it clarified things for you. So get that intermediate point, get that arc blur. Check out our website at wisdomandgolfpremium.com for the missing links and information. Beautiful comment section in there. We've got a beautiful community of people who understand how this works, and they'll be more than happy to help you out.